Hello everyone and welcome or welcome back. I'm Jennifer from Joy of Stationery, and for today's video I just wanted to do a quick look at some of my winter everyday carry essentials. And so you'll see that this is pretty much kind of techo themed, but I have a couple accessories here as well, and I just wanted to share this with you all as we approach December. So you can see that I have two kind of books or two kind of notebooks here, or setups. Some cute little gloves here and a little, some accessories. And I'll just go over these just because these are the things that I tend to kind of carry around with me on an everyday basis a lot of the times in terms of the kinds of things that I need now that we are moving very much into winter here in Scotland. It's quite cold. So let me just begin perhaps just with the books themselves. So here I just wanted to share one that I don't know that it has made too much of an appearance on my channel. I think I showed this cover around this time last year because this was something that I had kind of set up in a way that also felt a little bit festive to me. But this is actually something, this setup, what's inside, is something that I've been carrying around with me for the past month, if not a little bit longer. And this is essentially something that I was using before I started the new Hobonichi Weeks. So in here, so this is actually a passport size traveler's notebook setup. This is a cover made by Lecow, and so it is a little bit a little bit bigger as some of these tend to be than the Traveler's notebook covers, which are quite a little bit more compact. But I have really been liking this for the reason that it has a lot more kind of pockets and things that I can use, and it's been a lot more kind of functional for me, especially as we hit these colder months. So you can see that it has a pocket in the front in this beautiful dark green leather, and I put this sort of dual rose patch on it just because I thought that looked really, really gorgeous altogether. It has a black base here in terms of the leather for the cover, and then on the back we have another pocket, and this is in a red leather here, and you can see there's also Lecow's little kind of logo branding here. And I love the fact that it has these external pockets, and on the inside, let me just kind of show you, we've got on the inside front cover, we've got kind of a smaller sized secretary type pocket in the red leather and kind of a full-sized pocket in the black leather. And in the back here, you can see that I did decorate it with this tiny holly patch, again, kind of in the festive mood, but I felt like it kind of matched with some of the colors. We've got that beautiful dark green, it almost looks black here, as a secretary pocket, and then a full-size black one here as well. And you can see that I've been keeping the pencil board from this year. This is the Traveler's Town theme from 2024 from the Traveler's Company. This is the pencil board, and I've just been keeping it back here. But I've just found all the pockets to be just really, really handy. And at times, if I want to kind of make my wallet set up a little bit slimmer, I actually can put my cards in here, and I might show that at some point. But inside here, let me just move this to the side, I have two main inserts, and I'd been working with these two before I started in my Hobonichi Weeks, which just began this week in terms, or at the time of this filming. And these two inserts are the Papertess Design horizontal weekly insert in the passport size, and this is undated, and I've really been loving this. And then this is the beautiful insert, a beautiful kind of passport sized notebook by Serica Studio, and I have been loving both of these precisely because they have been using Tomoe River paper on the inside, and I realized I've been really wanting that for all of my kind of planning and journaling needs. So as you can see, this is a undated horizontal weekly. In some ways it's similar to the Traveler's Company insert in terms of the layout, but there are some crucial differences that have been making it just making a world of difference for me. And that is that the first section here is actually blank. So I can use this more as kind of an overview for the week, which I, for whatever reason, have found much more functional for me than to start the Monday up here. And not only that, but each of the days of the week, which has its own section, has the gridded lines as the background, and it's a light grid, and I have loved that just because I love, you know, gridded paper is my is sort of my go-to and my favorite. So what I have been using this for is I had started trying out some different kinds of planning here, but ultimately the reason I wanted to use this insert, and it's an undated insert so I could start it at any time, was to be able to specifically plan and track my writing. So writing is a really important part of what I have to do as an academic, but there's a little bit less accountability just because you don't always have to kind of report to somebody. There aren't always earlier deadlines other than the kind of final deadline that you're aiming for. So it really helps me to have some way of focusing my planning specifically for writing and for my writing projects. So that's what I've been kind of using this for. You can see I've kind of color coded the days, and that's what I had started to bring into my Hobonichi Weeks, as I may have shown you in my last video when I kind of set this up for its initial uses. And that's just kind of what I've been doing. I experimented a little bit, but it was just a way to kind of, again, keep track of those things maybe alongside my working schedule, and just to see if by having this separate insert for this, if I could start to kind of prioritize my writing in a way that I feel like it really needs. And it is currently being housed in this beautiful folder. You can see that it has these this beautiful illustration kind of on all sides, and this is the collaboration between Miso Paper, and the artist's name is Ryoko Tamura, and I just think this is so lovely. And so it's been nice to have this, and that way I can have some extra pockets if I need, for example, for some gold star stickers. And then this insert here, this is the Serica Studio notebook kind of insert. And again, it's beautiful Tomoe River paper, beautiful gridded paper as well. And it comes with, I believe, 100 pages. So I love that there are so many pages in here and I can use it for so long. And this is the second one that I'm using. I already finished an entire first one, and the fern design is one of her first two designs, and so the other one was a floral design on a kind of a burgundy red, and so that's the one I've finished. Now I'm on to this one, but I have been pairing this with the Papertess Designs Undated as a place to do some journaling in a way, but specifically this is kind of journaling or reflective writing about my writing, actually. And so the inspiration for that comes from a book on writing for academics by Jolie Jensen, and it's this idea of what she calls a ventilation file. And in essence, the ventilation file is a space, and it can be kind of an electronic document, and you just sort of type these reflections there, or it can be analog, but it's a way to just kind of ventilate, right? To kind of vent out any maybe frustrations or anxieties or any kinds of thoughts that you might have about your writing and your writing process. And as sort of simple as it sounds, every time that I've actually tried doing it, it has worked. The intention is that if you start to do that more regularly, you kind of clear your mind of some of these thoughts that can really kind of get you stuck and keep you stuck, and it kind of clears or ventilates that so that you can have a mind that is a little bit more ready to focus on your writing tasks. And I have found this to be so helpful, and I won't flip too much into it, but you can see I've already kind of used it for that in that way. And what I have found is by making this a little bit more of a regular practice, so anything related to writing or creativity or ideas or kind of writing planning, I just start kind of doing in here. And I've noticed, again, with that frequency, with that practice, that it has actually improved my ability to kind of think a little bit more creatively, think a little bit more out of the box when it comes to my writing and my ideas. And so I have found this to be a really kind of wonderful and invaluable setup for me as I, you know, in terms of my intention to prioritize my writing in ways that it just hasn't really quite had that priority in the same way, and build it into my system. So not only that, but it's very kind of handily and compactly packaged in the Passport traveler's notebook size. So this is just so easy to carry around with me in any kind of, you know, bag setup that I have. And that way it's always at the ready in case I have kind of any writing ideas, writing thoughts. I can come here and do some of that planning wherever I am. So this is also kind of, as you can see, decorated in a way that is sort of conducive to the festive season as well. And that's something that's been really fun for me. And then I will move to this, even though I've just done a setup video on it. That was kind of an initial setup, and I think in a way what I wanted to show was, you know, in that video it was maybe kind of how it started, and in this video this is how it's going. So now that it's been about a week since I first kind of started that planner, or started this Hobonichi Weeks, even though, you know, I was kind of starting it in the notes pages, I just wanted to show you some of the changes I've made already and how much I've been loving this as my new kind of everyday carry weeks planner. So as you can see, I have it in this beautiful leather cover made by Elysian Paper in collaboration with Cafe Analog. And Cafe Analog is a lovely stationery shop in the Netherlands, I believe. And Elysian Paper is based in Greece. And so I think there's really something about having a cover and setup that you really love holding. At least for me, I tend to be a very tactile person, and so I've been loving the feel of this leather, and it's just felt so good in the hands and so kind of, I don't know, just wonderful to hold. And I feel like that has made such a difference in just wanting to reach for this like all the time. And I love that, and wanting to kind of bring this with me all the time as well. What I have done is I have also added this adorable little kind of felt ornament. This is I think this is meant to be an oak leaf ornament, kind of a fall leaf here. And all I've done really is I've just kind of tied it to, if you can see here, the bookmarks that come with the Hobonichi Weeks. And so I've just kind of tied that together just because I felt like I liked it better kind of coming out from the top rather than hanging out from the bottom. And I really loved this. This is something that I just gotten actually the day that I had set up my Hobonichi Weeks, which was the day of our first snow. First and only snow so far, but I just had the motivation and inspiration to kind of go out to the local gift shop and just kind of see what things were there. And I found this because I knew right away that I wanted to kind of bring that into one of my setups in some way, but I definitely wanted to kind of incorporate that. And I've got these lovely fingerless gloves from the same gift shop, and I love that they have all of these really kind of cozy and cute kinds of things. So I just loved the kind of color of this as well. It's sort of a different kind of beautiful green, but you know, I just thought that it was just so cozy, and you know, kind of matches really well with with some of my setups as well. So just some cute gloves that I've been carrying around, especially because it has been getting extremely cold here. So I was meant to actually talk about this, but I got into the accessories. But let me just kind of show you how this has evolved. You can see that I've kind of changed the cover here. So this is a clear window. It has some plastic here that you can insert different kinds of deco into. For now, I've kept just the leaves that actually came with this cover, and they're these translucent, colorful leaves, but I think they're quite beautiful, and I think they do kind of match with the colors of the Tanabata weeks that I had decided on for my everyday carry weeks. So I've kept that there, and then you can see for the actual weeks that I have changed some things around. So I've included the plastic cover on cover precisely because I wanted to add some deco here. And so this is the Love and Trip, one of the stickers from the Travelers Company set for 2025. And I just thought that it looked really great and just looked matched really well with the Tanabata cover in this way. And the thing about the plastic cover is that it does add a little bit of bulk, but I've been able to kind of manage to make it fit. And what I also wanted to do then is I have the really cute cutout of the cat from the 4 Legs notepads, and I had initially had that in this clear window, but I decided instead that I wanted to kind of have it in case I, ever wanted to kind of bring my weeks around in just the clear cover, and that way I have this really kind of adorable cat to look at in the back here. And so you can see that, as a little setup, even without the cover, I've just been loving this, just like that. And of course, with the cover, it also is really, really dreamy to carry around. So let me just kind of slip that back on in. And because the clear cover on cover does add a little bit more, I actually have taken out what was the elastic kind of in the middle to wrap it around, just because it was kind of interfering with the back here a little too much, so that it wouldn't kind of it wasn't quite closing all the way. So I just wanted to kind of take it out so it's a little bit more of a smooth fit here, and that way the front cover can kind of come across the top a little more fully. So in any case, I just wanted to kind of show you some of the decoration here. And in terms of how I've been using it, since we have begun, it's been populated a little bit more. I have been using these monthlies, as you can see, as more of very functionally. So kind of putting in different kinds of appointments and maybe different kinds of deadlines. I've also been using some of these colored dots, as you can see here. These are colored translucent dot stickers that actually come with the Travelers Company stickers, and I do like that they are translucent so you can kind of see the numbers underneath there. But I've started to kind of set that up in order to just bring my attention to certain days and certain kind of commitments on those days, and have it be kind of a very easy visual in that way for kind of what I need to expect, and in terms of some of the commitments and responsibilities. Since we are, well, I was gonna say since we're in December, but we're not, but we do kind of have that first week of, or I'm sorry, the last week of November included. So that's kind of why I decided to go ahead and get started on all of this. I've put a couple little bits of decoration. As you can see, I mentioned last time, I have these golden numbers that I got from Ryman Stationery or Stationers, which I think they're quite prevalent in the UK. And I've been using that just to visually demarcate the different weeks of the semester, just because the academic year and the academic semester are so integral to the way that I plan and the way that I think about my calendar and just kind of organize my time. So you can see that I continued that on into next year as well, and just kind of putting some of these things in place just to kind of prepare for 2025. In terms of how the week is going, this is kind of what I've been doing, I think, for the different weeklies, and even when I was using the weeks this year in 2024, what I found really helpful about the Hobonichi Weeks is that there is so much room to kind of change things around and try out different kinds of layouts. So that's what I've been doing here. So I've kind of color coded the weekdays, which I did just to kind of flag the working week, even though even though unfortunately things are so busy that I have been carrying a lot of my work into the evenings and weekends, which I would like to learn not to do. At the same time, this is kind of a visual way for me to just demarcate when the kind of official kind of working week is. And so I've been doing again, this kind of color coding just as a line on the top with some mild liners, which is exactly what I had been doing in my Papertess Designs undated planner. And so I'd gotten that idea from how well it was working for me in here. So this is where I kind of put in my appointments and maybe certain kinds of announcements. And I've just used a pencil to draw a line using this kind of invisible line marker here that Hobonichi provides. And I used pencil just because it was a little bit more subtle, and I liked that. And on the other side is where I list some tasks and some kind of key reminders perhaps for the day. And as I'll show you later as well, once I get to the notes pages, I have used that in case I need a little bit more room for some of those tasks. So it's in some ways kind of like bringing in a Bujo setup, though a little bit, perhaps a little bit more tailored and structured to kind of what works for me. On the right-hand side, what I have decided to do was use the pencil once again to divide up the right-hand side according to the sections of the daily, the dailies on the left-hand side. And so what I'm using is for this column here, which also gives you kind of the invisible line from Hobonichi, I'm using it to kind of record the temperature as well as the weather for that day. And I have had fun with also including a cute little sticker that's representative of something from that day, as close as I can kind of match it. And this is coming from a set of stickers from the Sticky Club. And so it's these really cute little icon type stickers that also has a little bit of foiling and lots of little colors. So I've been loving kind of choosing one that's kind of iconic for the day in a sense, if you will, and bringing that into this little box here. And then, you know, I think I mentioned kind of in passing that I had gotten some new coloring pencils because I hadn't had any here. So I was kind of playing around with them here, for example. They were a great deal at Ryman Stationery too. I believe it was 72 Staedtler pencils, and it was going for a special deal for I think like £9, like $9.99 or something like that. It was amazing. So if you're in the UK and you know, maybe the other Ryman stores have that as well. I don't know, but that was incredible. But I had been kind of, this is the very back. What I had done, and I forgot to show last time, was I had just tested out all of the different colors for all 72 of the pencils that came in the set. You can't see this one here because it's a white coloring pencil, but this way I have kind of a record of what the different pencils, what the tone and the color looks like. And I always just love how this looks when you have kind of a set of colors that you can look back on. And I don't quite have fountain pen inks, so I can't quite do it in the same way, but I've always admired when people kind of try out their different inks and have kind of an ink swatching. So this is kind of my color pencil swatching. But I've been using those color pencils there to just add a little bit of color that kind of coordinates with, in some ways, the kind of color of the day in terms of the highlighted line, that is. And so I've just kind of been coloring it in a little bit and just trying out, again, some of the different tones of the same kind of, you know, same kinds of, you know, reds and pinks, or like the oranges or the yellows. And yeah, just kind of doing a little bit of, you know, practice while adding some color. And you can see perhaps a little bit more distinctly, these are rub-on letters from Ryman as well. I will say they're quite finicky, so it's been very difficult to not have a bunch of the other letters stick to different parts of the page, and then I have to kind of try to scratch them off. And you can still see some mistakes from there. So I don't know that I would necessarily recommend these rub-on stickers from Ryman, but I have them. So what I'd been doing is for kind of maybe each of the days, or not even necessarily each day, I just wanted to kind of flag some maybe bits of kind of media that were big and kind of when we started that. And so my partner and I, for example, we started watching Slow Horses, which is on Apple TV. And so I just wanted to kind of mark that this week, just so that I remember, when we started watching that together. Kendrick Lamar came out with his GNX album, and my partner sort of introduced that to me, and I listened to it, and I quite like it. And Leagues, it has to do with another game that my partner started, but it was kind of a big deal for him, so I just kind of wanted to keep that as a memory for him as well. And otherwise, I think this is still kind of an experimental section, so I've just been kind of maybe writing out some different kind of ideas, or maybe a tiny little bit of journaling, like micro journaling on each of the sides as something to just yeah, play around with, I guess, along with these kind of big things that I want to remember in terms of when I first, first was introduced to a certain type of media. And you can see that I've actually been using those same colored dots from the monthlies as a way to, again, kind of flag for myself what those weeks are looking like. So you'll see kind of in the weeks, oh, I haven't done it on the weeks ahead except for next week, but I've just been, trying this out, and I like it. I think it just really helps me visually, especially as work gets really, really overwhelming sometimes, just to be able to see kind of at a glance, like, how I might need to pace out my energy. So yeah, that's how this is going. And as I mentioned kind of in the back, I've really just been using the back for kind of extra, perhaps bullet journal inspired type of notes and kind of task lists and things like that. So that's kind of, especially on days when there's just so much to do and so much to keep track of, that I might need to kind of come back here and use this extra room for it. But I've been really enjoying it, actually. And then I think that I had mentioned this briefly last time as well, but I do have this Hobonichi memo pad that I also put a little cute cat cutout on. And this one I have been using as kind of a personal journal, or personal kind of, yeah, journaling, diary keeping. Hi, it's voice over me. I had a little bit of interference with my original video, so here what I'm just explaining is that in my 2024 weeks I had used the notes pages to do a lot of journaling, but I would sometimes journal so much that I ran out of pages by the mid-year mark. So this time around I'll be reserving these note pages for some of the extra planning. And I wanted also just to kind of show some of these planners in the wild. So here you can see, for example, the lovely kind of passport traveler's notebook setup with the kind of roses in the front. And then I've got this beautiful weeks that I've really been loving. And here's a shot of it in the wild as well. These are images that I shared on my Instagram, but I just thought I would share it as part of the video, just to show you what they've been like to carry around. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you in the next one.